subscribe and comment. I'm very happy to be here. If you're new to this channel, feel free to be part and parcel of our streams. It is exactly it's exactly 4 Kenyan time, and I felt that I needed to show up. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. Tell me where you're watching me from. Welcome to both of our channels. We are live in both of our channels. Very happy to be here. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and feel free to comment and tell me which part you're watching me from, and tell me, do you enjoy our channels? If you do enjoy our channels, subscribe and comment. Remember that we are still reading the scripture, and I know some people are asking me, are you still reading the scripture? What happened to that program? We're still in the program. We're still in the program. We are still, running the program. I know some people are asking me questions. What happened? But ladies and gentlemen, we are still on. So let us continue from where we are. So tell me where you're watching me from. I'm very happy to be here. We are double streaming. Welcome, my dear brothers, to both of my channels. Tell me where you're watching me from. Do you enjoy our channels? Let us continue. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. I'm very happy this wonderful morning to be here. Any questions up there?
Work today is broken. Every day.
Welcome to our streams. Let us continue. I was talking about the other time that sometimes you'll be mixing what is happening in the world today, and also at the same time we'll be discussing any questions out there? Yeah. Any questions up there? So welcome. Let us continue reading. Yeah, so let us continue with our streams. Welcome. It's exactly 4:07. Do you enjoy our streams? Do you enjoy our streams? So I remember I was watching the game of Czech Republic and South Africa, and I remember some people were really with South Africa. Remember that they've already given a deadline. They've given a deadline that by 30th of June that all the foreigners, mostly undocumented Africans, should vacate and come out of South Africa. Wow, that is very interesting because There's a lot of xenophobia in Africa, you know, and this is 19th of June 2026, and I'm very happy to be here this wonderful morning. So we'll continue with our streams, and tell me where you're watching me from. I always tell my friends that if your business is to eat a frog, wake up very early in the morning and eat the frog. Don't wait. And if your business is to eat two frogs, of course, start with the biggest frog. Don't wait because the more you wait, the more it's going to become difficult for you. So, it's always good to start very early. I'm a morning person. I usually like starting my day very early so that, I can finish my things early. All right. I know it's a very tough, very serious, program, but yeah. Any questions up to there? Subscribe and comment. Feel free to be part and parcel of our streams. I'm very happy to be here this morning. Any questions up to there? Any questions? We'll be here for just maybe 1 hour. All right, let's continue. I was talking about SpaceX before I talked about SpaceX and why. Welcome. I can see somebody called Brandy. Welcome to the streams. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. Tell me where you're watching me from. So I said that SpaceX started trading, and that is something that is very, very, good. For the New York Stock Exchange, it started its first week at $2.1 trillion, which is a lot of money. And of course, people are very, very excited. Also, for those who don't know, is that on the first day of trading, Elon Musk bought another company of artificial intelligence that is called Casa. Casa is worth $60 billion, and Elon Musk bought that company of artificial intelligence, which is something that I will talk about briefly this morning, because I think, that is a very serious topic that most people would rather skip. Of course, nobody wants to talk about technology or stuff like that. It's boring. It's very boring. But unfortunately or fortunately, that is the future. And that is exactly the business model of Elon Musk. We can see that he's consolidating all the AI companies. And of course, he will improve those companies in the near foreseeable future. What he will do is very simple. You can even look at the way he is moving, his movements in terms of in the stock market. Soon buy at least 3 or 4 companies of artificial intelligence, and he can either buy all of them and take them to the stock market and do exactly what he did with SpaceX. And there's one advantage that he has over so many people, is because he has access to pool of very smart people who work for his companies. He has engineers, technicians, and many people who work in the Boring company, in the Neuralink. He also bought another company called Neuralink, and Neuralink is also closely related to artificial intelligence. So you can see he bought Neuralink. He bought another company called Casa. He bought Neuralink for $500 million, and he bought Neuralink for 500M, and he bought Casa for $60 billion. So you can see that he's really moving towards consolidating all the AI companies. So in 1 year, 2 years, you'll find that he will have accumulated so many companies that are maybe the startups, of artificial intelligence and other companies that are related or are in that kind of lane. So you can see that you can scrutinize the brain patterns of such investments. So we were talking about in the near future, all these companies, one day we'll wake up and find that all these artificial intelligence companies belong to him. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. I'm very happy to be here. So let us continue reading. And one thing that I've always been keen to see where the price movements of these particular companies. And I must say that for free, that you can easily tell that the idea here is to invest in the future, that is digital economy or some kind of economy that will drive the future. Any questions up to there? And you see, one thing that is really helping him is the accumulated capital that he made, such that when people realize that he has bought this company, people automatically become, want to know, of course, would want to know why is it that you are so interested in these companies? Why is it that you bought these companies? And such is, any questions up to there? Feel free to, feel free. And where we're going right now is that, everybody would want to do, a lot of work in less time. So that, of course, that will make everybody that is in the office, in those who are in analysis, even banking, everybody will gravitate towards artificial intelligence. So if you say that is that's a pipe dream, I don't think that is. Time will convince you otherwise. Any questions up there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. I'm very happy to be here. Let us continue with our reading. So, as I said, that the World Cup is still going on, and feel free to subscribe and comment. You see, there's something called the cost of computation divided by 100. Back in the day, that is the cost divided by 100. That is at first, remember, when the smartphones came, they were very expensive. But, with more investment, they will divide that cost by 100. So the cost is not going to increase. They will divide the cost by 100. That is called the cost of computation divided by 100. I know that is computation, and computation is a very, very serious. You see, like there's something called Metcalfe law, which means that in every 2 years, the processing speed of computers increase and the cost of production will decrease. Are we together? The cost of processing speed will increase. At the same time, the cost of production will decrease. So when you say that, it means that with investment in this particular field, the cost per unit will drop significantly, and that it means that that work will be done quickly and more cheap. But there is one problem with artificial intelligence, and I'm going to explain it this morning for those who care to listen. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. There's only one problem that arises with technology or with artificial intelligence or stuff like that is that if you have an app, and this is the bigger picture. I want you guys to look at the bigger picture. If you have an app that does the work of 500 people in 1 hour, do you see where the problem is? You see that this particular app, and that is exactly what we witnessed in the tea factory in Kericho, and I will explain to you right now what happened to the tea factory in Kericho, what really happened. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. You see, ladies and gentlemen, let me press my pen. Let me take my pen, I'll be back. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe. I'm back. So I'm going to explain to you what happened in Kenya in the tea factory business. What machines did, that is, yes, if the issue is to bring down the cost of labor, that replacing human labor with artificial intelligence. And this is the serious point that I wanted to talk about. You see, ladies and gentlemen, since independence, Kenya has been relying on women to pick tea leaves. Okay, so tea leaves, the tea, they were picking by using hands. And they said that, of course, those who were paying salaries came up with a new way of course, trying to bring the cost down. And they bought a machine to pick the tea leaves. What happened in Kericho? I'm talking about Kenya. And this is exactly where we are going as a country. I can see we are really interested about artificial intelligence. And I'm trying to explain to you guys the risk. There's only one risk. So this machine of picking tea leaves, this company, maybe Finlay's, used to employ close to 100 or 1,000 women to pick the tea leaves. Now they bought one machine to pick the tea leaves. One machine, and they told everybody to go home. So you see here, yes, they wanted to bring the cost of labor down. They wanted to bring the cost of production down. And what happened at the end of the day is that they told all these people who are working in that tea factory to go home. So that is exactly what AI is going to do. And I know some people are asking me, what are you talking about? And this is exactly what I'm telling you. Yes, we will have the upside and the downside of AI. The upside of AI is that it's going to do a lot of work very quickly. You can imagine the work of 500 people being done in 10 minutes. You see how risky that is. It means that these 500 people will be redundant. There's no need of 500 people. For example, if you're an accountant and there's an AI for accountancy, why should the company hire you? You see how tricky it is. So whatever we are saying is because there's every service in the financial industry is being provided for by AI. All right? Even if it's talk about any industry, even the law, if you want the best legal advice, AI is going to give you the legal advice. So why do you need a lawyer? And if you're saying, for example, that you're a teacher and students are you're now using AI, so they will see, in fact, students will be correcting you and telling you, excuse me, teacher, you're wrong. So you can imagine a situation where, artificial intelligence will be, because, the processing speed of artificial intelligence is at least 1 million times the human capacity. So here you are, you're saying that I want a financial analyst, and the AI is going to do the financial analysis for you in 10 seconds. So why do you need a financial analyst in the first place? So you see, ladies and gentlemen, that what will happen is we will have quality of service, but there's something that we lack. People will start complaining that artificial intelligence is, sucking or gobbling up all the jobs, because now, for example, a company that is for a leading company, let's say Anderson Coopers, maybe Deloitte, or a big, accounting firm, maybe JP Morgan, or, Goldman Sachs. Let's go with Goldman Sachs. For example, Goldman Sachs, they're hiring the best, the best financial analysts. They're hiring the best investment bankers. Now you have AI. Why do you think Goldman Sachs will need your services? So I'm trying to tell you that yes, we are really interested in technology, but there will be a downside to it. And so many people will be redundant in the near foreseeable future. I was listening to this man in England called Robert Jenrink. He was talking about the labor market, and he was blaming illegal immigrants for flooding the UK market with cheap labor. And he said that because of the illegal migrants in the UK, that is why there's a lot of many citizens of Britain are on welfare. Now I'm wondering, now let's marry the two ideas and start thinking, okay, fine. What if now AI comes to the UK? How many people will be held? How many people will be redundant? Of course, in the near foreseeable future, so many companies will downsize. There is no company that is not downsizing. There is no company. So when you talk about the labor market, because here issue is the labor market. You see the labor market, because they're saying that, even when you go to South Africa, they say that the illegal immigrants are gobbling up all the jobs, and the indigenous South Africans are lacking jobs. So here we are. Now bring, it's 2026, 2027, 2028, 2030. Now factor in AI. If you bring, for example, it's an accounting firm, and you bring AI into the market, it means that, that app alone is going to do the work of 100 people. One person alone will, for example, it will be taking the lion's share. One person will be taking the salaries of 10 people. So you see here, or those who will know AI. And if you look at the cost, if the issue is the cost, a company would rather hire one person to do the work than 100 people. So the labor market, either way, even if you say that illegal immigrants are gobbling up all the jobs, even if you say that the only way to get the Brits out of welfare is to deny everybody a visa, that argument will soon be rendered obsolete, because there are so many factors that you have to in the near foreseeable future. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. I'm very happy to be here this wonderful morning. Any questions up to there? Any questions? So as I said, we'll be doing a roundup. Welcome to both of my channels. We'll be doing a roundup, and we'll talk about, what is happening around the world and how it will affect you as an individual. Any questions up to there? So when you talk about, because the issue here, what is making everybody panic is, of course, the job market. Everybody wants, uh, most countries, like what is happening in South Africa, there's xenophobia. There's xenophobia in South Africa because the indigenous South Africans are saying that, that foreigners are gobbling up all the jobs. That is why they want them out by 30th of June. So the issue here is not hatred. The issue here is they say that, the immigrants are more hardworking. When they go to those countries, they take top jobs. They are more serious as vis-a-vis the indigenous individuals, and by that it means that, when you, of course, when you're a foreigner in a different country, of course you have to work hard because you're far from home. So when foreigners go to South Africa, they are very, very aggressive as compared to South Africans, and that has not endeared them to the people of that area. That is why they have told them to leave by the end of this month. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. I'm your host, Raymond Mutuku, and welcome to both of my channels. So we'll continue, and we'll talk about whatever is happening around the world, and any questions up to there? It's funny because and also we'll also connect and talk about what is happening. The KTN investigation showed how the government, there's a illegal sale of Kenyan IDs. A Kenyan ID or a passport is going for just 15,000 shillings. That is £100. With £100, you can get a national ID of Kenya. It's a business that's going on, and people are very, very angry in Kenya. They're saying that there are people who are selling, the national ID of Kenya. It only happens in Kenya because, any question up to there? Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment, and I am very happy to be here. And still on the issue of the airport, that is the JKIA airport. You see this man from Zimbabwe, he won the tender of renewing the airport. Of course, most people are not aware that it was not 1.8 billion shillings. Actually, it was $1.8 billion. So if you convert that, and this man won that tender of renewing, getting the JKIA at $2.5 billion. This man from Zimbabwe called Chivayo, and he just got another tender. He just won another tender in Zimbabwe, where he was given that tender of printing ballot papers. He was given the tender of delivering, the ICT servers, and so many things in the 2023 general election of Zimbabwe. So you can imagine that after winning a tender in Zimbabwe, he came to Kenya again and got that tender of renovating our airport. And people are wondering, he was also involved in so many international smuggling of gold. The smuggling of gold. Do you know that I was reading the Business Daily? It says that Kenya exports gold, that is billion shillings of gold every month via Kenya to Dubai. Yet we don't mine a lot of gold. A lot of gold is coming from South Sudan. There's a gold scam going on, gold from South Sudan, and another one from Congo, So Kenya is at the center of a trade that is worldwide. All right, a trade that is so much gold is passing through Kenya because all they need is just a permit to export. Any questions up there, feel free to subscribe and comment. I'm very happy to be here. It is 19th of June 2026, and I'm your host, Raymond Mutuku, and I'm very happy to be here this morning. Tell me where you're watching me from. Do you enjoy our streams? If you do enjoy our streams, subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. Any questions up to there? Let's continue with analysis of what is just about to happen. Any questions up to there? So according to this man called Robert Jenrink, who is a member of parliament in the UK, he was arguing that the growing number of unskilled workers and you see the growing number of unskilled workers in the UK, like in the labor market in the UK. And this man Jenrink was saying that this because they allowed millions of immigrants to work in the UK. And so this is driving British families out of work to welfare. And he said that they will be renewing the visas of migrant labor. So they also came up with a new strategy called the Employers Migrant Labor Levy. Of course, this is an annual fee for companies now will pay for every migrant that they hire in the UK. For every migrant they hire, the employer is supposed to pay an annual fee that is tax for every migrant person that has been employed. And this strategy is called internalizing the externalities. All right, because he said that there are 2.6 million non-EU workers in Britain, and this employers migrant labor levy will raise 10 billion pounds a year. So you see here, they're saying that now migrant labor will be the one who will do what? Will raise the money. All right. Any questions up to there? And they're saying that maybe that can be one reason, but also they say that they need to just cancel the visas so that so many Brits will be back to work and they will come out of welfare. Because they say that, as long as there's a competition between migrant labor, so many Brit families will go to welfare. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. Do you enjoy our streams? If you do enjoy our streams, welcome to both our channels. We are streaming live. We are streaming live in the world of our own, and we're also streaming live in the Chariots of Fire. Any questions up to there? It is 4:37 a.m. Kenyan time, and sometimes I always tell people that before you change your mind, start early. Before you change your mind, before you become bored, swallow the frog in front of you, just in time. Because the more you say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it tomorrow, before you know it, you not do it anyway. So welcome. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. So that is the secret. Procrastination is the thief of time. If you want, when you say I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Believe you me, tomorrow has its own pressures. Tomorrow has its own problems. So whatever you are supposed to do today, just do it today. Close your eyes and eat the frog and move on. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. And I'm very happy to be here. Any questions? So, and it's funny that in Nigeria this week, there was a major general who was in fact kidnapped in Nigeria. And, not one, but two army generals were kidnapped in Nigeria, and people were asking, this story is very serious, in Nigeria. It has been trending here in Kenya, and people are wondering, if a major general of the army is being kidnapped, called Rabe Abubakar, and he was abducted by bandits in Katsina State, and he and his wife were seized while traveling to a wedding, but his wife was rescued by the military. So let us read this story. They said that the incident happened in late May, where armed gunmen intercepted the vehicle of Major General Rabi Abubakar and his wife Amina in Katsina State, Matazu area, as they were traveling to a wedding. And a video surfaced on social media appearing to show the couple held in a military camp with the general visibly injured and appealing for help. And you see this man, so people were asking, and this is not the first time. Of course, this week again, another general was kidnapped. In Nigeria again, you see this story has been, that is another one, that is a commissioner this time round, was also abducted in Nigeria. This has been a trend, any questions after there? If you're new to this channel, subscribe. That is there's been a story that Lagos State Police Commandant Kansa Lihu was kidnapped before his death. So this story has been, being discussed in Africa. Any questions after that? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. Tell me where you're watching me from. I'm your host, Raymond Mutuku, and welcome to our streams. Do you enjoy our streams? If you do enjoy our streams, welcome. I'm very happy to be here. So, just 3 hours, the issue of finance bill has surfaced again in our parliament, and of course, 40 MPs who voted no in the 2026-2027 finance bill. That is, all of them are Kambas. That is Mbui, Thaddeus Nzambia, Joshua Kimilu, Stephen Mule, Onesmus Ngogoyo, Geoffrey Wandeto, Jane Kihara, Kibasu Nzioka, Dan Mashako, Edith Nyenze, Irene Kasalu, Boni Malika, all of them, Joyce Kamene, Augustine Mafrika, Patrick Macau, Gideon Muliongi, all these people voted no. Let us see, the MPs who voted yes, for the MPs who voted yes for the finance bill of 20, who voted yes for finance bill 2026. I don't think, so 122 members of parliament voted in favor of the finance bill. Only 40 voted no. Any questions up to there? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. The ones who voted yes. Any questions up to there? Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. Tell me where you're watching me from. It is exactly 4:43 Kenyan time. I want to see the members of parliament who voted yes. I know the Machakos voted yes. The finance bill, there was an intense session. You see, let's read this very quickly. In Parliament today, the National Assembly has passed the Finance Bill 2026, paving the way for the proposed law to be sent to President for assent. The MPs approved the bill at the third reading stage through an electric division vote conducted in accordance with the Standard Order number 70. All right. And in what was an intense session on Thursday evening, a total of 122 MPs voted in favor of the bill, while 40 opposed it. No member abstained. The vote marked the final parliamentary hurdle for the finance bill after the lawmakers spent hours debating its provisions and considering various amendments. Initially, the bill was approved by acclamation, but this was held by resistance from a number of MPs, resulting in the Speaker to direct the House to a formal electronic vote. The Speaker will decide whether you will have electronic voting. Where we will have difficulty, we will have assisted voters. Wetangula ruled in accordance with parliamentary procedures. Notably, the passage of the bill followed a number of amendments following concerns raised by members of the public. Some controversial tax proposals were either dropped or revised, while measures were also introduced to retain tax reliefs on selected essential goods. The Finance Bill 2026, that is the biggest story in Kenya today. That is the Finance Bill. Of course, the more we talk about it, the more, of course, in the near foreseeable future, and I'm saying this month or next month, but one of the biggest things that happened is that, of course, today in the G7 meeting, they decided to open the Strait of Hormuz. So, of course, the stock market in the US reacted, and so many people, it was their all-time high. So many people made money out of it. And consequently, that will drastically reduce the prices of oil. And, definitely, that will have some effects, in the near foreseeable future. So this tax bill 2026, the finance bill 2026, proposes amendments to several key tax laws, including the Income Tax Act, the Value Added Tax Act, Excise Duty Act, Tax Procedures Act, Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act, and the Stamp Duty Act. According to the government, the proposed changes are intended to broaden the tax base, improve tax compliance, and increase revenue collection to support spending priorities in the 2026-2027 financial year. Despite the bill's passage, several opposition MPs voiced strong objections to the proposed measures, arguing that they would place an additional burden on the taxpayers. So this financial bill 2026 definitely will cause a lot of problems in our country. And so many people are saying that we should reject the Finance Bill 2026. So definitely, since 122 members have passed the bill, it means that definitely in the near foreseeable future, we'll all go to the streets once again for the maandamano. I don't know whether that is anybody would propose maandamano, but definitely that is where we are going. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. Do you enjoy our channels? If you enjoy our channels, if you want to know what is happening in Africa, or even it's a mixed prayer. We can talk about what is happening in Africa, in the US, in the UK, because all these places are connected with one another. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. I'm your host, Raymond Mutuku, and this is The World of Our Own, and this is the Chariots of Fire, and I want to welcome you to our streams. Tell me, do you enjoy our channel? If you do enjoy our channels, subscribe to both of them. Any questions up to there? Okay, let us continue. Any questions up to there? Earlier on Thursday, the Democracy for Citizens Party DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua directed all its affiliate members of parliament to vote against the Finance Bill 2026. On the other hand, legislators aligned to the government, including Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, defended the bill, maintaining that it was necessary to enhance revenue collection and support the county's development agenda. So here there's one thing that played out in Parliament, in the Kenyan Parliament. That is, of course, even those MPs from Central Kenya, most of them voted yes. Of course, they will have to, side with the government, even if, of course, if you don't side with the government, it means that you cannot be sponsored by the UDA party and also go against its agenda. So that is something that everybody should know. That of course, if you are a member of UDA, until the parliament is dissolved, you have to support the agenda of UDA until parliament is dissolved. Are we together? So any questions up to there, feel free to subscribe and comment and tell me where you are watching me from. So now that parliament has now that parliament has voted in favor of the any questions up to there, let us continue. Now, yesterday, the Techno City is not called Konza anymore. It is called the Technopolis Act of 2026. It was signed into law on May 11th of 2026. So it's no longer called the Konza Technology City, but it is called the Technopolis Development Authority, TDA. So now, I think as from yesterday, they have changed now the name, and we will talk about it as we continue. The Act, formerly identified as number 13 of 2026, was subsequently gazetted in the Kenya Gazette Supplement number 120 of May 15th, 2026, following the presidential assent. You see now, the financial bill, that is the Finance Bill of 2026, is just awaiting the assent of the president. Once he assents it, it becomes law. So between now and for the president to assent that bill into law, there's going to be a lot of chaos in between. Are we together? Because of course some people from the DCP will start stirring up the country so that the president does not ascend that bill into law. Because now, if it is ascended into law, there's no reverse gear, and even if there's a reverse gear, there will be a lot of up and down. So people will try to change. People try to whoop emotions in the country so that the president does not sign that piece of legislation into law. Following the presidential assent to the Technopolis Act of 2026 on May 11th and its subsequent publication in the Kenya Gazette Supplement number 120, dated on 15th of May 2026, we wish to notify the public that the name of the Konza Technopolis Development Authority has officially changed to Technopolis Development Authority. They have dropped that name Konza. Yes, it is found here in Ukambani. So let us continue. This means that the authority that has long associated with the ambitious smart city project now operates under a fresh legal identity. So the Technopolis Act has a fresh legal identity. Any questions up to there? Next week, hopefully very soon, I will take you for a ride in the Technopolis, the technology city here in this channel, and we will go around it for a week, and we'll try to identify the future, of course, of and we look at the city. Waking up, we'll go to the city and see how it is. Any questions? It's just here, just a few minutes from here, and we'll go and tour that place, and it will be live in our channel. And if you are new to this channel, subscribe and comment. So according to the Smart City Authority, the name change is not merely cosmetic, as it reflects an expanded mandate under the new legal framework. Any questions up there? It also means that all the obligations under the contractual relationships remain intact despite the change of name, so business continues as usual. The change of name does not affect any obligation, assets, liabilities, operations, or contractual relationships with our investors, customers, tenants, partners, or other stakeholders stated in the notice. The authority further orders that references to KOTDA in official documents, correspondence, contracts, and other engagements shall henceforth be construed to refer to the Technopolis Development Authority. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. Tell me where you are watching this channel. Do you enjoy our channels? If you do enjoy our channel, subscribe and comment and tell me. We're just about to cross our 1 hour mark. Do you enjoy our channels? Any questions up to there? Any questions up to there? Any questions? Feel free to ask me your questions. Feel free to ask me your questions. I know some people are asking me why is it that we are starting very early. I think the thing is, any questions? Any questions up to there? Do you enjoy our channels? All right. Any questions after that? Do you enjoy our channels? If you do enjoy our channel, subscribe and comment. I am very happy to be here.
Sign for coronavirus. Can you see it? Right in front of everybody's face. Yeah, there you go. Evil. Look at the hologram. Look at the rays going around it. The colors of the thing. That is the radiation off of a 5G tower. And above it is a symbol for coronavirus. There you go. The devil is real.
Any questions up there? Any questions up there? Any questions up there? Do you enjoy our channels? All right, let's continue. We're very happy to be here. It's 5 o'clock Kenyan time, and join us every day in our streams.
To show you how these people are evil.
Any questions after there? It's 5 a.m. Kenyan time. Welcome to our streams. We're just about to cross our 1 hour mark. And do you enjoy our streams? Do you enjoy our streams? If you do enjoy our streams, welcome to our channel. And as I said, we are here to inform you of what's happening. And I hope that you will enjoy our streams. Any questions? You can see that Obama opened the presidential center in Chicago. Let's listen in.
Hello, Chicago. Sweet home, Chicago. Please have a seat. Thank you for that outstanding.
So it seems Obama, the presidential center is, I think it's opened now by, Barack Obama has finished the presidential center in Chicago. Let's read about it. Any questions up there? Obama Presidential Center in Chicago. It was finished. Let's read about that. Any questions up there? Feel free to subscribe, and let's read about the basic facts of the presidential center in Chicago. Let's read about it. So when the presidential center opens its doors to the public, that is tomorrow or today, Visitors will learn not just about the personal journey of Barack Obama and the First Lady Michelle Obama, but also how it connects to the broader story of American grassroots movements that have broken glass ceilings and led to the fundamental political and social changes since the nation's founding. So the center was opened, and I said that this channel we are talking about the events that happened around the world. So if you just follow this channel, there's no need to buy a newspaper. You just come here every day. We are the newspaper that will cover all the topics around the world. So isn't that the deal of the year? That's the deal of the year. If you're here, you'll learn about what is happening, around Kenya, in Uganda, Tanzania. In just 1 hour or 2 hours, you will have circled the whole world and came and, in just 1 hour, we will dissect the stories that are happening across the globe. Isn't that great? Yeah, we've talked about the xenophobia in South Africa. We've talked about, Robert Jenring in the UK. We've talked about the speeches of, Kemi Badenoch Adegoke in the UK. We're now talking about the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago. You know, so when you come to this channel, we'll give you the best deal of the year. So when you come to this channel, it is not only a question of tuning in, but also it is a journey. So this channel is not just gossip. We're not here to gossip. We're here to talk about facts. We've talked about the Technopolis Act of 2026. We've talked about the name change of Konza Technology City. We've talked about the finance bill. In just 1 hour, we have crossed again to the UK. We've talked about the employers. It's called the employers migrant labor levy that the government of the Conservatives or the Tories want to raise close to £10 billion by the end of 2032. Now we are talking about the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago. Let's read to find out what is it all about. So if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. We've talked about AI. We've talked about the tea farmers in Kericho and how AI is going to affect the labor market in Kenya. So if you're in this channel, trust me, we'll give you the deal of the year. Talk about the art of the deal. Talk about it. Talk about it. So the 850 million center is a sprawling campus in Chicago's Hyde Park neighborhood that goes beyond the established model for presidential libraries to date. Of course, in America they have a tradition that once you've come out of office, you have something called the presidential library, like all the presidents of the US. Of course, you'll have a presidential center. Even there's the George Bush Presidential Center. There's the Bill Clinton, presidential center. So as long as you have served, they will honor you with a center. It goes beyond the established model for presidential libraries to date. While there are artifacts on display from dresses worn by Michelle Obama to campaign buttons and handwritten speech notes by the former president. It's a library, of course. The bulk of the 19-acre campus is rooted in connecting fundamental pivot points, moments in history to ordinary people and their capacity for serving as catalysts for, if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment for the common good. Of course, these buttons, of course, like the Barack Obama 2008, not people have access to such things. Let's continue. The intent, that is the Obama Foundation CEO Valerie Jarrett told ABC News that the visitors will leave with a stronger conviction that we are all responsible for continuing to improve our great nation of ours. Most importantly, they're going to have fun. The most striking difference between the center and other presidential libraries is, for the first time in history, the records from the Obama presidency will be fully digital, which will make them more accessible and allow the center to reconfigure its physical space to accommodate a wider array of interactive material and programming. That includes a recording studio, auditorium, newly opened branch of the Chicago Public Library, a 60,000 square foot multi-purpose space that includes a basketball court and an 88-foot tall signature digital installation, including former speeches, poetry, and music grounded in the former president's two-term office. All right, so we've talked about that. Any questions up to there? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. Tell me where you're watching me from. Did you enjoy our channel? If you do enjoy our channel, subscribe to our channel every day. Such an amazing time to be here. Any questions? Any questions up to there? Do you enjoy our channels? If you do, subscribe. Subscribe and comment. Any questions? All right, so we've come to the end of our streams. Yeah. Wow. All right. It was nice talking to you guys, but as always, I need to leave. Arrivederci. Arrivederci.